Hello students, this is the part 10 on the chapter Locomotion and Movement. We are having various bones, different types of bones, and have you ever observed that each bone is offering a different type of movement? Like our finger bones are moving like this, ankle bone can move like this, and all various bones of the body are having different types of movements. How they are offering such different types of movements? With the help of joints. Each and every bone is joined with the other one with the help of joints. So there are various types of joints which offer various types of movements to the bones. So just have a look on these types of joints that are found in human body. Now we are moving on to the types of joints under locomotion and movement. Joints. There are many articulations or joint present in the skeleton. Joints are classified based upon their structure and the kinds of movements which they permit. Types of joints are, first is ball and socket joint, also known as inarthrosis. Ball of one bone articulate in socket of another bone. Example is important: head of humerus and glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle. Okay, so keep in your mind all the examples belonging to each and every type of joint. Then comes the hinge joint, also known as gingulum. Movement is possible in one direction only. Example, joint of malleus and incus knee joint. Here you can see this first one is the hinge joint. And this second one is the ball and socket joint. Ball of one articulating into the socket of another bone. So this is how ball and socket joint and hinge joint are found in the body. Then comes the pivot joint, also known as rotatoria, and helps in turning movement. One bone is fixed and second articulate. Atlas, example, and axial of skull rotate with the axis vertebra, also known as atlantoaxial joint. So atlas and axial axis, so atlantoaxial joint. Then comes the gliding joint, also known as the arthroidal. Limited movement it offers in all directions. Example, tarsal bones of ankle, zygophysis of vertebrae. Here it's the pivot joint. Then comes the saddle joint. It is ball and socket like joint but not developed fully. And example, metacarpal of thumb and carpals of hand. Here in the diagram you can see. Now I am showing you one video which will explain this joints completely so that there will be no confusion for you. Body is having two types of joints, movable and immovable. Immovable joints are the ones which cannot be moved, and movable joints are the ones which can be moved. But not all movable joints can move in all directions. They have a fixed type of movement. First is ball and socket, allows the maximum movement. Round and its round end of one bone is fixed onto the socket of another ball. Okay, so the name is only because of this feature, ball and socket joint. Example, hip joint and shoulder joints in our body. This is a shoulder joint. You must have seen a bowler, how the bowler is bowling the ball. He swings his hands freely around the shoulder and then finally throws the ball. Okay, so this is how ball socket joint work. Now comes the hinge joint. It is like a door on the hinge. It enables movement only in one direction, like knees and elbows and fingers. Okay, yes, it enables movement only in one direction, so one direction. Now comes the pivot joint. Works like a door, one bone has a projection which fits into the ring-like ligament of another. You can see in the diagram. It allows movement in many ways. Example, head like this. Okay, movement in many ways. Yes. we can see how the head is moving. Next comes the gliding joint. Gliding. Adjacent bones slide over each other and allow for a limited movement. You can see how they are gliding. It allows our back to bend and twist and turn, and each joint, like the vertebra of the backbone, wrist and ankles, so these are gliding joints. Now answer me, head of humerus and glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle is an example of which type of joint? Ball and socket joint. Give another name of arthrital joints. Gliding joint. Correct. So students, this was all about the types of joints that we have in our body. We have learned about the 5 types of joints: the ball and socket joint, the hinge joint, the pivot joint, the gliding joint and the saddle joint. We have seen that how these joints allow the movement, in which direction these joints are allowing the movement of bones. And also we have learned that what types of bones fall under each type of category of the joints. Hope this was very clear to you through that video which I have also shown you in the lecture. Now we will be moving on to the next part. So let's have a look onto the next video.